You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
All right, guys, welcome in. Episode 44 of Watson's Playbook. We got an interesting episode for you this week. Spotlight of the week, Lakers. Are the Lakers in trouble? How high is the panic level that the Lakers should be in right now? Got Jeff on the line, buddy. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's been a crazy couple of days here in Colorado. So I'll get to that later on in the segment, or in the show. But other than that, work's been good. Going to go see my mom this coming weekend, and which is good. I haven't seen her in a while. And then just been busy. My wife and I have just been catching up on the Survivor season 1 on
Nice.
on Paramount Plus, which I've never watched. So she was big into it. So when they first came out with it and stuff, and I never watched it. So we watched the first season of it.
Is Paramount good? That's one I haven't really looked into. So
I did like a free week, or whatever, just to kind of see. And it's a lot of stuff that we've watched before, or things that we were interested in. It has a lot of MTV stuff on there, which is kind of cool. Like there's some shows that we watch on there. And then there's also some shows that we watch, like she was into Survivor, but they also have, I think it's all Viacom stuff. So like, Star Trek stuff. They have it's just like a laundry list of stuff. It's pretty insane. If you get a chance to, you can get a week trial and just kind of see if you like it or not. But there's like a ton of stuff. It's surprising how much is on there. I was surprised to see how much stuff was on there. Yeah, because there's even MTV Cribs. You remember MTV Cribs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
They
So
have Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead, I think, on there. And
Yeah. So they have, I think, Nickelodeon stuff, which I haven't even tapped into yet. So I'm actually curious to see all the old Legends of the Hidden Temple and
dude, yes. It's bringing back our childhood,
Oh man.
So is it only $5 a month too? Isn't it pretty cheap? Or
I think it's $5 a month, but it includes ads, and it goes up if you don't have ads or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the ads are probably similar to Hulu, where they do a bunch at the bare beginning, and then you get a snippet of a few in the middle, and then a bunch at the end, something like that. I think it's typically what they would do. But yeah, if it's, for $5, even with ads, that's a pretty crazy deal. So, but yeah, give it a try for a week if anybody wants to try it out. It's a Paramount Plus, so it's basically anything Viacom related, including Nickelodeon, CBS, anything CBS related. So. Yeah, I suggested to try it out.
That's cool, man. I didn't know anybody that had it. So we have every streaming service. We got Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, HBO Max, which HBO Max has turned out to be one of my favorites.
I love HBO Max.
Yes.
Oh, I love HBO Max.
Love it. So we have them all. I think that's where it's kind of going. They have the Discover channel now. It's got their own streaming for $5, and I think that's where we're headed. But let's not get off too far off topic here, because let's go ahead and jump into the spotlight of the week, Jeff. As the Lakers' panic level, Jeff. What is their panic level? What should it be at? Look, I'm a Lakers fan, obviously. You can see you got the championship hat from last season. The Lakers right now, they're third in the West. They're 28-15. And the reason they're panicking is because, first of all, Anthony Davis has been out for a long, long time. He's been out since actually February, Jeff. And every time they go to check him out, he'll be ready in a couple weeks. They're talking about he could miss the whole season and not jump back into the playoffs. So that's a big concern for us Laker fans. But you're like, okay, well, we got LeBron James. Well, LeBron James gets a high ankle sprain this last weekend. It's been all over the news. He's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks at the minimum. It could go longer than that. High ankle sprains tend to linger and be different. Sometimes they're not so bad. Sometimes they linger on, depending on how bad the sprain is. LeBron James, I looked at their schedule, Jeff. He could miss about 3 to 4 weeks. That's probably around. It could be up to 15 or more games, and we're already through the halfway of the season. I looked at their schedule. They play some tough teams, Jeff. This isn't a walk in the park. Okay, they play the 76ers, who right now is leading the East. They play the Bucks, who are third in the East. They play the Clippers. They play the Nets. They play the Celtics. They play the Jazz twice. They play the Mavericks back-to-back. That's not all the games, but those are the games that went out and said, wow, these are some tough games. Now, last year when I thought about the Lakers, I'm like, okay, we got Anthony Davis and we got LeBron James, and that's it. I didn't really think we could win the championship. I thought our bench, our roster wasn't good enough. We had guys, other than Anthony Davis and LeBron James, it's all we had. Well, this year they went out and changed that. They went out and they made moves. They brought in Montrezl Harrell from the Clippers. He was a sixth man of the year. They brought in Dennis Schroeder, who averaged 18 points a game last year for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was the six-man runner-up. They improved the roster from last year. It's better than it was. They paid Kyle Kuzma. These guys are going to have to step up, Jeff. What's your panic level right now for the Lakers?
Oh man. Code orange, I would say. I wouldn't go all the way to code. I wouldn't go all the way to code red. I do think code orange is a little bit more realistic. He's not. It's weird because when he got injured, it was like, oh, well, he's out indefinitely. And I'm like, for the rest of the year? I mean, it seems, I'm like, indefinitely is like not putting a timetable on it. It's more like whenever. And I would say maybe a month, I would think that he would be out. I don't see how and why he would be out for the rest of the year. I mean, you're talking about that and then including playoffs. Like, it just seems a little odd for something like that. I'm sure he could bounce back quickly. But it's kind of like, it's hard to tell because I think the way he tweaked it, it looked bad. I mean, it looked pretty bad the way his ankle turned and stuff. And for LeBron to be wincing in pain, to be on the floor, showing that says how much it did hurt him, and it's just, I don't think that this is a panic mode just yet. If it was a Dak injury, then I would be like, okay, he's out. If it was some kind of leg break like that or something crazy, I don't remember exactly what it looked like when Kobe hurt his Achilles. But if it's something like that, the fact that it is a sprain, I don't think Laker Nation should be freaking out. I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be back soon. Anthony Davis, what's the timetable on him? Do we know?
Every time they talk about it and it comes to that, to meet that time limit, it's just 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. He was the one I was talking about that could miss the rest of the regular season. He might not be back until closer to playoffs or playoff time. And that's been the biggest thing for his career. He's been hurt a lot, and that's when we went all in and got him. I was fantastic. Anthony Davis is great, but that's his Achilles heel, is he's always hurt. Last year he was pretty healthy for most of the season, and we didn't see this thing happen. This year, I think the Lakers going into it could have missed Anthony Davis for some time. With LeBron James, they're still winning some games. I think they would have been okay. But now that you have both of them out, the Lakers have been rumored. The trade deadlines in a couple of days have been linked to Andre Drummond. There was rumors and reports that actually Andre Drummond from the Cavaliers, who would jump into the Lakers to be their starting center, because we don't really have one right now. We let go of Dwight Howard and we let go of McGee, and we got in Marc Gasol, which he's old and doesn't do anything for us whatsoever except he's a paperweight. Okay, that's all he does for the Los Angeles Lakers. It hasn't turned out to be all that great. So there's rumors that Drummond could jump in, be the center. He averages 14 to 16 points a game. That would really help us out. Since we didn't sign back Dwight Howard, who's actually gone on and had a pretty good year this year. But so look at the Lakers to make a move maybe that way. They don't want to trade for him. If Andre Drummond isn't traded by the trade deadline, he's more likely going to be bought out, and the Lakers feel really confident that he wants to sign with them. There was reports that he's actually in L.A. as we speak. I saw the reports today as we speak in L.A., so I hope that works out, because he's a guy we could definitely use. But they built this roster, like I said, over the offseason to be able to handle something like this. And when you added Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder, you added two guys into this that could score points. They came off the bench last year, but they're starting the lineup with the Lakers, which is totally fine. Dennis Schroeder averaged 18 points a game last year, and I believe Montrezl Harrell was around that too. So, but with LeBron James out, you're going to have Kyle Kuzma. We paid him a contract, which I was a little iffy on. He's got to step up. We're paying him to do so and put up points, and he's not. I don't know if he doesn't get the ball enough with LeBron and Anthony Davis on the court. He's been a little underachieving, in my opinion, for the contract we just paid him. But my panic level, Jeff, was at a 10 when all this happened. I'm like, awesome. We need to be panicking. We got to make some moves. There's actually rumors that Montrezl Harrell is on the block, so maybe we trade him and get some players that can come in. But you've kind of talked me down a little bit. I'm going to go panic level of an 8. I don't foresee them, just dropping out of the playoffs. We're already over halfway through the season. They would have to have just a all-out. The Houston Rockets, Jeff, just lost 20 games in a row. They lost 20 games in a row. The Lakers have to do something that bad to drop completely out of the playoffs. They're the third spot right now. I could see them dropping down to maybe the 6th, 7th at the worst. I don't think they'll drop out of the playoffs, but this is big. The Lakers fan base is a little uneasy right now, and it's just the way it is when you have a injury-prone player in Anthony Davis, and LeBron James has been the ultimate Iron Man in the NBA, but he comes to LA and he missed a lot of time in 2019. Now he's missing time now, and he's never really missed time in his career. So, that old age is catching up to him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, one could say that, and it was an odd tweak. It's just, I definitely don't think that it should be a panic mode for anybody. I think this is something that, ultimately, when both come back, if the projection is probably correct, and I would say if there is a projection for LeBron, it's sooner than Anthony Davis, obviously. And if Anthony Davis is coming back by playoff time, that's kind of when you would want him anyway.
Yeah.
Regardless of where you sit, I don't think seeding is anything to be stressed out about. You could be low seed, you could be mid seed. It doesn't really matter. I think that ultimately this is a team to beat come playoff time. and seeding is regardless of where you're at. I think that they're a dangerous team once everybody's back, obviously. But in regards to if Laker fans think that they won't make the play, I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah,
at all.
It would have to be a catastrophic losing streak with the lower seeds, as in the Mavericks and the Spurs, and the Trailblazers stepping up. But
right,
so the Lakers are definitely a favorite. They were, I think, the favorite the last time in Vegas to win the championship before the LeBron James and Anthony Davis injuries and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I think the Brooklyn Nets look strong in the East. The Philadelphia 76ers actually are leading the Eastern Conference right now. If you want to jump into maybe kind of give you the top five in each conference here. So the Eastern Conference is the 76ers. They're one game up above the Nets. The Nets are the number 2 seed. 3 is the Bucks. And then it really drops off after that. There's an 8-game difference between the Miami Heat and the Bucks between the 4th and 5th seed. So, and that's the biggest thing about if the Lakers were in the Eastern Conference, they could lose quite a bit and still have no worries about getting probably a higher seed, because of the fact that the Eastern Conference is easier once you get past the top 3 teams.
Right.
The Western Conference is a lot harder to get into, and you got the Utah Jazz there at number 1, 31-11, which they're a surprise team this year. With them, I think everyone wants to see them prove it in the playoffs. This is a team that's never proved it in the playoffs. You got the Suns. They are a surprise, Jeff. They are 28-13. They're 2.5 games out of first place. They're 8-2 in the last 10. They're kind of gone on a little bit of a run here. And, it looks like Chris Paul with this really young team has stepped up with DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, who's a beast, and then Chris Paul up there with the veteran leadership has kind of helped them out in the Suns. Then you got the Lakers at 28-15, and then the Clippers are at 28-16, and then the Nuggets follow right behind at 25-17. So there's just a couple differences there as far as games and between the 4th and 5th and 3rd seed. So,
I mean, I think it's obvious to make a realistic assumption that the Lakers are definitely probably going to drop to 4 during this time.
Yeah.
And the Clippers will probably jump up to 3. And then depending on what's going on with Denver, do y'all play Denver a couple times more? Or
we don't play him in the stretch of the LeBron injury. And
okay.
if he's only out for 3 to 4 weeks,
there's a possibility that there can be some kind of fluctuation going on with that. Maybe even like tied with the 5th and 4th spot. But I don't see anything. I don't see them dropping down to 7th.
Yeah, I think 6th.
I don't see them dropping down to 8th. Like, there's too long of a gap there, I think. The 6th, 5th, and 4th seeds are something to be watching.
Yeah. I think that's where they land to, somewhere in there. And then when we get Anthony Davis back and LeBron James and his team's full force, I think we go to the championship again. Do we win it? I don't know. I think it's going to be Brooklyn Nets. They are a super team. Unfortunately, it's going to be hard to beat them. I do think the Lakers, even with Anthony Davis and LeBron James coming back, I do think we do need to go out and add Andre Drummond. So if he gets bought out, then we can sign him. I feel really good about it. He's been linked and rumored to the Mavericks as well, on other teams like that. So, but he came out and said he wants to play in LA. So if he gets bought out, he can choose where he goes if he's not traded before then. So,
which would be for the team that he is on, which comes to the Clippers. I'm sure they'd want something for him and then nothing.
Andre Drummond's on the Cavaliers. So,
Cavaliers.
Yeah. I don't know. You would think they would trade him. I don't know if he has no trade clause. I don't know all of that behind it, but the reports are assuming that he's going to be bought out if he can't be traded. And I just don't think a lot of teams know he's going to be bought out. So why would you trade him if you can just wait a couple more days and then offer him a contract? So I do think he ends up with the Lakers. which is good for us because, like I said, I really wish we would have signed Dwight Howard back or even kept McGee, but we let both of them go, and I was kind of surprised by that move over the offseason. And then we added Marc Gasol, and he's really, he'll come in and play and put up 2 points a game. Like, it's nothing. It's just not doing anything for us. So I'm looking forward to.
My question is, why didn't they do that beforehand? Why did they go with Marc Gasol? Why would you go from Dwight Howard to Marc Gasol?
Well, they spent so much money on Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder, bringing in these guys that could really score. They have Anthony Davis, who he doesn't always play center, but he does play center, but he's all usually out shooting. He can shoot threes and do that. So I just think they signed him because he is cheap, and that's it. He's just a body. He's a jag, Jeff. He's just a guy. That's what they talk about. So I think that's why. And they didn't really want to. I don't know why they didn't want to pay Dwight Howard. I don't know how much money he got leaving, but I would have been fine with signing him back. He played a pretty good role for us in the playoffs last season and had a better. When we first got him, I was like, I don't want him here. I never really liked Dwight Howard when he was here. Him and Kobe never got along really until after they stopped playing with each other. But he came and surprised me, and he was able to play the role that we needed him to play last year and help us win the championship. So I really wish they had brought him back, but they added Marc Gasol, and he's just too old. He's too old to play, and maybe he's ring chasing. I don't know, but that seems to me why they brought him in, just someone cheap after going out and spending money on more important players like Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell.
So would this be a, hey, you're in here for the year and then you're out kind of a thing?
It depends. I think probably so, and I think it's just because money. We're the Lakers. Yeah. As far as their money situation, it's not that great. They're paying LeBron James a lot of money. They paid Anthony Davis a lot of money. We just signed Kyle Kuzma, who I wish we would have traded when his value was up. I don't know if and I don't know with him if it's the fact that he doesn't get the ball a lot as much as he would want. But this is the time he needs to show that, right, with both of them out. So I think it'll be a one and done unless he comes in and just kills it. But I just don't think we have the money really to sign him.
Yeah. Don't stress out, people. Just if there are any Laker fans listening, like, I don't know, but if there are, I wouldn't freak out. I would just kind of wait and see where you land during this month, and then once everything starts falling into place with LeBron coming back, then you follow that up with AD coming back. It's all going to play itself out. It's all going to work. Yeah. So don't worry.
All right, let's jump into the headlines, Jeff, and we got a juicy one right off the bat. So last week we talked about DeShaun Watson had some accusations. It was only like one or two accusations against him for sexual assault on a masseuse, a massage parlor type thing, the Robert Kraft special. But Jeff, this thing we kind of talked about it last week, how it seems a little fishy. If you go look at the lawyer and you go look at the timing and maybe Houston, what is Houston doing? Is this Houston's deal? We didn't want to say this isn't a credible thing. We just didn't seems a little fishy. Well, Jeff, I'm kind of at that point where I'm going, my eyebrows are raised now. We've got questions for DeShaun Watson. There's been 14 women as of today suing DeShaun Watson, and they said there could be another 10 women to come out that the attorneys talked to. That's 24 women altogether if they all jump out to say I'm suing him. This thing's getting hot very fast, Jeff, and I don't. At one point, you cannot dismiss 22, 24 women that have said that DeShaun Watson has done something inappropriate to them, with them. I don't know where you're at it now. Last week, I was like, no, this seems a little shady. Now I'm kind of going, DeShaun Watson might actually be in trouble here, and to my question is, why is this all in civil court? It's not this. There's been no. It's not a criminal charges yet. So, I think if these women do come out eventually, and it goes to court, I do think it's got to turn into some criminal charges, right? I mean, you would expect if he gets convicted or whatever. It's just a bizarre and crazy. We've never seen anything like this before. 24 women. That's well. I mean, I guess you did with Tiger when you heard Tiger Woods stuff, but.
So you remember when last week when we were talking about how the lawyer was the same lawyer for that was friends with the organization?
Yeah, he's friends with the owner of the organization, or he lived next door as well.
Right. Well, yeah. There's a connection between the organization and the lawyer that represented one of these women, or which, at first, at the time, it was one woman.
Yeah.
Is he representing all these women?
He is.
Okay, that's so weird. I don't understand.
Well, let me tell you what's more weird too. After this happened, after the first claim got filed and DeShaun Watson declined to pay them the amount of money that they asked for, and he brought it public, he went to Instagram, Jeff. And he went to Instagram.
Not the gram.
Yeah, he went to the gram and he put out there, if this has happened, if anybody has any, had any other altercations with Deshaun Watson, please feel free to call me. And this is where, I guess, the hotline opened up and you have all these women coming out of nowhere. Deshaun continues to deny everything. So it's hard for me to go. At first, I was like, okay, it's a little sketchy, but there's 24 women. I don't know. To me, where there's smoke, there's fire usually, but I just don't know. I don't know if you can fake 22 women. It's just, I don't know, man. It's insane. It is insane.
I think it was today. There was one or maybe two of them that the lawyer for Deshaun Watson did come out and explain that there's some credibility issues with some of them. I don't know if he only mentioned a couple. He didn't go deep dive into the others, but he said to me, it seems like if they had already gone to court today, that there would be some issues with some of the stories.
Yeah.
So the fact that it is not in a preceding case of a actual trial, which in this case would be a trial, you can't have a repeat offender on multiple counts and it just be handled in a civil court. That doesn't make any sense. Usually, I guess when it seems like a civil court, I would always assume there's usually some kind of resolution, money-wise, that someone's looking for. So, hey, well, we're going to take this and we're going to just throw legalities at this over and over until we can settle, right? And that's when, unless you're going to a trial, somebody's wanting to settle somehow, which means they're wanting a payday. I mean, that's what, when they do that kind of stuff, it seems odd. I'm not saying that that's the case with all of them. It just seems odd that it's the lawyer that has an association with the Houston Texans. It seems odd that Deshaun Watson's lawyer came out today and said that if they went to trial right now, there are stories that would basically break down the second the trial started in terms of credibility.
Well,
so that's not good.
It's not good. None of it's good. And to my big question to you, Jeff, is if Houston Texans are doing this, if they're behind this, what's their motive?
To affect his ability to go to another team. That's their motive. Their motive is defamation of his character. Let's throw as much mud on him as we can as possible and dirty him up. And then all of a sudden go, well, you want a dirty player? I don't know. And you'll have organizations. It's unfortunate because you have organizations like the Denver Broncos that typically they like a structured organization. They like a clean organization. They don't like a lot of hoopla. They don't like a lot of drama. They don't like a lot of dirt on them. And this makes them think and go, is this real? Is this not real? They have to figure these things out. And there are some teams like that where they're like, what does this mean? Because we don't know how true any of this stuff really is. We need to know that.
My team is one of those teams too. They don't mess around with any of that stuff. But first of all, that if the Houston Texans are doing this, it makes no sense for them. Makes no sense. If DeShaun Watson says, "Look, I'm not playing one more snap for you," and eventually you have to trade him, you've just demolished all his trade value. You're going to get less back for him. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't know if Deshaun Watson would have set out before these accusations. I don't know if Deshaun Watson would have set out. He said he was. He had other players coming out saying he was. But Jeff, are you telling me he's going to sit out and not get paid $20 million? I don't know. I'm not leaving $20 million on the table. I know it's just me and I'm just some broke guy or whatever, but that would be huge to sit out. But now since he probably thinks that this, he says he's innocent. And he probably thinks Houston Texans set him up. He's definitely not showing up. If there was any maybe doubt in his mind, maybe he should come in. He's definitely not coming back now.
So I've listened to, there's a Bronco podcast that I listened to, and one of the things they mentioned is that he actually has, from a reporter that is a actual beat writer for the Houston Texan sports section. I don't know if it's the Houston Chronicle or not, but it's something like that. And so what he ended up saying is that based on what he knows, Deshaun Watson has a lot of ways to make money outside of playing football this year that he's already been doing this entire time. He has restaurants. He has other business opportunities, like whether it be local promotional, or whether it also be some kind of deals that he's already kind of in the process of working on. I know that he's a big film person, they said. So he has, I think, some kind of production company or something like that. There's a lot that he does that is not just football. So in this particular kind of thing, is it possible that Deshaun Watson can be all right during this process of not wanting to play for this organization anymore? I do. I think he'll be all right.
What happens, Jeff, if those companies that he's got with, or contracts that he's got with, they all drop out? We don't want to deal with Deshaun Watson and his sexual accusations. That happens all the time, right? Interesting.
And well, here's the deal: is the thing is that he knows. It just seems like to me there has to be some concrete evidence and concrete proof of this. There's a lot of stories, but we have not seen anything. We haven't seen text messages. Nothing's leaked on TMZ. We haven't seen a video of it. Nothing. And I don't know any NFL player right now who hasn't gotten in trouble and actually put in a process of having to either pay restitution or having to, you can't escape the law when it comes to being an athlete anymore. And that's just it. And my thing is like with, for example, Von Miller, there was a story that something happened with him. Come to find out, nothing happened. Nothing happened because they dropped the case. So, and then you look at somebody like, the running back for Baltimore.
Rice.
I'm trying to think of his name. Ray Rice. You take a look at Ray Rice. There's video proof. He hit somebody. He hit his wife or girlfriend or whatever. And it's like, that's evidence. We know that happened because we saw it happen. This particular thing is, I want to know what kind of evidence you have that is 100% proof that Deshaun Watson did what you said he did. Because if you don't have any proof, you don't have a case. Yeah, it's word of mouth. There needs to be other witnesses that have seen something. There needs to be some of his security entourage that saw something. There needs to be other people within the room that may have seen something. There needs to be video evidence, pictures, something. You got to have some evidence.
They say there's text messages, but if that'll all come out. So it's just a matter of time before all this comes out. And I guarantee you, Jeff, if Deshaun Watson gets acquitted of all this stuff, everyone's blaming the Houston Texans. and who wants to go play for that organization ever again?
Yeah. I honestly, it seems fishy to me that they're all being represented by this dude. I don't see why would they be represented by him? Why is he seeking them out solely? I think that's a little odd. Maybe to gain some clout during all this craziness, because maybe he's gonna, benefit based on his name being tied to all this crazy news. Because it's always gonna mention him, saying something or speaking on behalf of. And, it's just, to me, it seems odd. It seems weird. There needs to be 100% proof and evidence in this. And until then, I think Deshaun Watson needs to sit. He needs to just wait this out, and don't make a move yet. Because I'm gonna be honest, if you make a move based on desperation, then you're gonna end up playing somewhere you don't want to play again. So, it's just kind of like, it's just, to me, it seems kind of like I look at it and I go, I don't understand how any more people can come out without proof. And until then, I'd love to just be able to have that kind of evidence to be able to make a decision on him. And I think teams deserve that also. I don't think teams need to be stressed out or worried that for whatever reason we can't pull a trigger on Deshaun Watson because there might be something that happened.
Right, it'll all come out in the wash, and I'm not taking sides here. First, I was on Watson's side. Now I have no clue what to believe. So when this all comes out, we'll figure out the truth. It's just insane. It's an insane story, and if Deshaun Watson is innocent, these women need to be prosecuted. To sit here and accuse someone of almost rape. I mean, sexual assault. It comes next one down. Yeah, that's pretty dang bad, and that lingers on. So, all right, Jeff, we'll jump into the next one. LaMelo Ball out for the rest of the season with a broken hand. He broke his hand the other day. He tried to play through it, could not do it. He was favorite to win the Rookie of the Year. He's averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He surprised me this year. I think he's playing pretty good. He is out there running the team. He's the point guard out there handling the ball. And we didn't know what to think about him because, first of all, he is a Ball, right? The Ball family and his craziness. And Lonzo Ball didn't really turn out to be as great as they thought he would be. Trust me, I'm a Lakers fan. I know that. And so LaMelo Ball, he started off and he had some troubles and issues as a young boy. He went overseas to play, and he got drafted from overseas, so we didn't really know. We heard the hype, didn't know what he's going to turn out to be, but he's turned out to be a decent player so far, and it sucks that his hand got broken. He probably won't win the Rookie of the Year anymore, but that was where he was on pace for this season. So,
I've heard rumblings of him. I've heard that he's actually pretty decent. I think maybe even better than his brother. So we'll it's interesting. I did hear about the injury, but I don't know a whole lot about him other than I know that he's a up and coming star, and he just started this year. So, but he did play. Didn't he play international ball?
Yeah. He's from overseas.
Yeah,
he got drafted from over there, and he plays for the Charlotte Hornets. So no one sees him a whole lot, anyways, because no one watches them. But the New Orleans Saints, Jeff, got punished by the NFL for breaking COVID rules last season. They got fined. I think it was like $500,000, maybe less than that. It's probably less than that because these fines are nothing. And they had a 6th-round pick taken away for breaking some COVID protocols. I don't know if it wasn't wearing a mask or whatever. They're not the only team to be punished, and probably won't be the last. But they did get punished for it. So it was a crazy year last year.
The Broncos will probably get punished too. But that's
it's a 6th-round pick. I mean, it's nothing that it's not a 1st round. It's not a 2nd or a 3rd. It's a 6th.
I just love how sports teams get like scrutinized. They get penalized for something, and it's something, and they get penalized, and it's such a just whatever. Like, okay, like they're even if they did it again, what are they going to lose? It's just, it's so funny. I mean, I don't know. I laugh. I mean, I look at baseball and the same thing with the Houston Texans. I'm just like, what? That's nothing. Like,
Or
it's
they
just
find
whatever.
somebody and it turns out to be the equivalent of us making like paying a $10 fine. It's like what? Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't affect
Right.
them one bit. It's like, okay, well, we did something about it. Well, you didn't do enough, but okay.
All right. The next headline, Jeff, is yours to talk about the Denver Broncos.
Okay. So the Denver Broncos have been making some splashes in free agency, and it's kind of interesting that they've been able to kind of pull out these, I would say, tricks. I mean, honestly, it's been insane. They did go out and they re-signed. They brought back Shelby Harris. I think we talked about that. Obviously, they brought back a couple of other players, and obviously got rid of Philip Lindsay. But the Kyle Fuller sign is one of the big ones that nobody was seeing, nobody thought would happen. The Bears get rid of Kyle Fuller.
Side note,
cornerback.
Jeff, they got rid of Kyle Fuller just simply for cap space. And Kyle Fuller is a good player.
And this is the Bears team that we were talking about that was making some oddball decisions. And because they had Andy Dalton, for instance, okay, they get rid of a Pro Bowl cornerback, and they didn't even try to trade for him. They just let him walk as a free agent and said, whatever, not even trying to match a contract. The Denver Broncos got him for a 1 year, $9 million or so $1 million contract to play for the Broncos, which he was wanting to play with Vic Fangio, his former coach, and had his best year under Vic Fangio, his former coach. And the Broncos went in this situation going, okay, free agency, we need to get a cornerback. We need to shore up the secondary. We need to make sure that everything's put into place there. And they went from that to now they don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Now they have to sit there and go, well, all we really need to be paying attention to is what are we doing with the quarterback situation? What are we going to do in the draft? Are we going to move up in the draft? Or are we not going to move up in the draft? And it's just, to me, I'm like, this is the best situation the Broncos could go in because it saves money for cap space, and they can go into a situation in the draft and pretty much do what they want to do. I mean, other than a few pieces to kind of solidify any late, draft picks to kind of solidify any backups on defense. This situation is just insane. This fell into their lap, and it's awesome. The new general manager, Peyton, trying to think of his first name, but he nailed it, man. Like, this guy is pretty good, and I know that this probably was a Vic Fangio move because this is his guy. But the fact that they were able to wait and not pull the trigger and trade for this guy is freaking crazy. And he just fell into the Broncos' lap. And I heard that the Green Bay Packers were wanting this guy. I was hearing stories about they were really wanting this guy. Was that a true thing?
We had him a couple years ago. And I'd say when we had him, we didn't have him on our team. A couple years ago, they placed a tag on him, and we were able to offer him a deal. And the Bears could have matched our deal, or they could have let him go. And we wanted him, and the Bears matched our deal, so he stayed with Chicago. And look, I would have loved when they said they released him. First of all, my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, what? Kyle Fuller? I was saying, go get him. Go get him. Put him up next to Jair Alexander, and we would have if they had him, we would have the best defensive backfield in the NFL. I mean, not ever, but we would. We'd be number one with Jair Alexander, and Adrian Amos was the third-rated safety in the league, and you got Darnell Savage and Fuller. You're not throwing on this football team. we didn't have $9 million though to pay him. So he did go to Denver, and when I saw that, I said, Jeff's going to be happy. This guy is good.
The Broncos now, with that said and done, we're talking with Von Miller, with all these guys back in the mix. These are their guys. These are guys that they picked. They're guys. They should have been paying them. We didn't sign Philip Lindsay. I understand why we didn't. Okay. There were some issues with Philip Lindsay. He can't catch in the backfield, and he cannot block the rush.
Well, and
he cannot protect the quarterback. He had a hard time doing that.
I like him though, man.
So I like him. Okay, so even the Bronco country loves Philip Lindsay. He's a Denver guy. He's a Colorado guy. He played for the Colorado. He went to high school here. He played football in high school here. He went to CU. He played football for CU. Yeah, he walked on to CU. He played football for CU. Then walked on and played football for his team, the team he grew up playing. He wanted to root for.
Man.
So this is like, yeah, it's incredible. It just didn't fit. It just didn't fit anymore. And I think we were never going to give him a big contract. And I think he knew that. And I think he just wanted to play for us for as long as he possibly could. And honestly, whatever the Texans paid him, he would have gotten the same contract with Denver. I mean, it was a low ball contract, $3 million for a year or something like that. It's a whatever. Like the Broncos could have paid that, but Philip Lindsay wanted to see what his value was. And I think he knows now. So, I mean, maybe he comes back to Denver at some point on a really small deal and just kind of, we have him, as like a second running back or, in certain situations or whatever. But I do understand why the Broncos moved on from him, and I don't blame them for it. It sucks. It's something I don't want, but I'm not going to sit there and go, why would you do something like that? That's like them saying, we're not going to sign Shelby Harris back. We're not going to sign Justin Simmons back. That I would go, what are you doing? That doesn't make any sense.
Like Green Bay and Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones is a lot better than Philip Lindsay, but
well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like in that instance, I'm just kind of like it. Fans of the team know the writing has been on the wall. We've constantly franchise tagged him. We've been not wanting to pay him a big contract, and he's been kind of wanting that a hometown discount kind of thing, and we weren't going to do it. Like it just didn't fit with what the organization is trying to do. And I think that they wanted to spend money in other places, and I get why. They wanted to solidify that defense, and that makes sense. They wanted Shelby Harris back.
You'll replace Lindsay in the draft in a second, and
yeah, I mean we got somebody from I think it was a running back from the Vikings, maybe. I can't remember. I can't remember who we got him from, but we got somebody.
And
it's fine. We also have Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's coming back. So it is what it is. But I just think that right now, as Bronco fans should look at, the defense seems like it's pretty much solidified. Now it's about picking out pieces in the draft and possibly even trading up. I know a lot of fans are hearing trade up, get to a quarterback. If we can, we can. If we can't, then here's what we do. You bring in a veteran to come in there to back up Locke, and then you just solidify the offense or whatever the pieces that you need to solidify this team in case something happens to them, injury-wise or whatever, solidify those pieces. But in terms of if we can't move up, then obviously the next option is trade for him with DeShaun Watson possibly. And that may be a possibility, but again, that's giving up a lot, and I don't think the general manager is going to do that.
Here's my thing, Jeff. Here's number one in my opinion, the Denver Broncos. You have to draft a quarterback. Period. End of discussion. Okay, you have to move up.
Well, sure, you draft him, but it ain't going to be a big one. It's going to be a high pick.
You move up. You send them the 9th pick and something else, and maybe another thing to get a quarterback. Because without a quarterback, in my opinion, teams don't win. Now, Jeff, number 2, if you can't draft a quarterback, okay, for some reason you don't find one you like and you don't move up and you pick something else, I got a really good backup quarterback for you, Jeff. Alex Smith. That would be perfect for you guys. He's the one when you said get a veteran quarterback, it popped right up, straight up. This is a guy Heck, he could come in and probably play out Drew Luck right now, but that's a good backup for you, Jeff. He's a guy that if Drew Luck struggles or if Drew Luck gets hurt, then he can place in Alex Smith for 1 year, and he's still on the market, and he's the ultimate bus driver. He can play with that offense and that defense. He doesn't need a lot to win, so maybe that happens. But you've got to find a quarterback, Jeff. John Elway and this GM, that's the most important thing. And you got to look at your division now. Your division, you got Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
That's 2 shootouts right there. Then, Jeff, the San Diego just replaced their freaking Phillip Rivers with their next franchise quarterback. And so you're going to have 2 gunslingers. You're going to have 4 there. And then, the Raiders are the Raiders, and sometimes they'll come out and beat the Chiefs, and sometimes they'll almost lose to the Jets. So you never know. But you've got 4 gunslinger games right there. You've got to put points on the board. You've got to find that quarterback, man.
I look at it this way, and this is what I looked at from the very get-go. Defense. Solidify that defense. That defense the secondary was horrible last year. Their cornerback situation was ridiculous. The weird part about that defense is that defense had ridiculous amounts of injuries all year. So the funny part is people looked at our defense. They were like, this is trash. And I'm like, that's like half of our defense.
Yeah.
And now with Bradley Chubb back, Von Miller back, Shelby Harris back. Now you've solidified the secondary with the cornerback situation. This defense is dangerous. This defense will be top 5 defense in the NFL in period. They're going to be that good. It's ridiculous. No one is running against this front 7, dude. I'm telling you. With everybody healthy, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, and Shelby Harris.
Here's something I want Green Bay to bring from Denver to Green Bay, and that's the reason why we hired Joe Barry from the Rams. Is he runs the Vic Fangio defense. So I'm interested to see what that looks like in Green Bay with our players and going on from there. But
yeah. It's I think with the quarterback situation, I do think that the Broncos will fix that. But I think Elway, his strategy to get to the Super Bowl worked. His strategy to get back to a Super Bowl caliber team is exactly the way you're seeing the structure of this defense be put together. You know what I mean? And so Peyton Manning was something that happened, but our defense was trash. You know what I mean? That season that he came in there, his first 2 seasons, they were breaking records. They were going insane, but the defense was garbage. It was even with Von Miller, it was garbage. And we realized that when he went to the Super Bowl and got smacked in the mouth by a defense that was better than us. So think about this, and think about how the Tampa Bay Bucks won. They shut down a lightning offense with a explosive defense. And Tom Brady didn't have to do much to win. So ultimately, do I want a tough defense before I even start worrying about all this other stuff? We have weapons offensively, and we solidified those in multiple drafts the last couple of years. Defensively, we just fixed half that just by signing people back and grabbing a couple free agents. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Solidify some more pieces to complement those other pieces in case somebody gets hurt. And it's honestly, even if you draft up and grab a quarterback, you may not even have to play him the first year. You could let him sit and just watch, and then or if that's the case, you bring in somebody that's just going to back up block, and then go after DeShaun Watson whenever that whole ordeal happens or falls apart or whatever.
See DeShaun Watson in Denver.
It's just
y'all would be Super Bowl contenders.
It's a very big possibility.
They won. But I do think you move up, and I do think you take a quarterback. Honestly, I do think you do that. But we'll see.
It'll be interesting. This draft is going to be crazy, man. This draft's going to be interesting from the Broncos side because I don't think a lot of people know what they're going to really do. They solidified a lot of pieces that everyone thought, oh, they're going to draft here, they're going to draft there. Defense, cornerback was the first thing everyone ever talked about because we lacked that. And now that we don't lack that, no, it's coin flip. What are they going to do?
Yeah,
I don't
very
know.
intriguing when you have a top 10 pick where you're going to go with it. So, all right, Jeff. Well, I know you don't probably watch March Madness, but it's out there. Everyone's talking about it. We have to bring it.
It's out
We
there.
have to
It's
bring it up
madness.
here. Now, I do watch it when it gets into the tournament a little bit, and I actually saw an upset the other day with Loyola Chicago beat number 1 Illinois. That was a good game, and they kind of owned that game from the tip. But now we're in the Sweet 16, and these are the matchups right now. You got Gonzaga number 1 versus number 5 Creighton, and then you got USC number 6 versus number 7 Oregon. That's the Western Conference. In the South Conference, you got Baylor versus number 1 versus Villanova, which is number 5. It should be a pretty good game. Baylor's actually really, really good. I think they could go all the way this year. Arkansas, number 3 versus Oral Roberts, number 15. Jeff, this team is a Cinderella team. Everyone kind of likes to root for them. That's all the South bracket right there. And then you got Michigan, number 1 versus Florida State, not Florida Gators, Florida State. And then you have Alabama 2 versus UCLA. And then you got Loyola of Chicago, number 8 versus Oregon, number 12. And then Houston, number 2 versus 11 Midwest. So that's going on. Those games are fun to watch. To watch these kids give it all they got, to see the upsets that we've seen. Texas went down again in the first round. Shaka Smart hasn't won a first round game in the tournament, and this is his 7th year. They're talking about him being the hot seat in Texas. They lost to Abilene Christian University here in Texas as well. We've had quite a bit of upsets going on, but I'm not a big follower of it. I will catch a game here and there when I can. But the favorites to win are Gonzaga and Baylor, so watch out for them. Gonzaga's been blowing people away, so that's what we got. I don't know if you want to add anything onto the NCAA tournament, Jeff.
Oh man, I am not a college. Yeah. I'm not a college guy. I haven't really paid attention to college sports. So if there's a national football game, national championship game, I'll watch it. Prior to that, I don't tune in, but even more so with basketball. Yeah. So yeah, but it's interesting. I see the hype around it. I see the excitement because it's a bracket system, and it's kind of like anybody could win at any time. So, and I definitely get the hype and the buzz. So yeah, if everyone's excited for all that, then yeah.
And there are 0 awesome. Perfect brackets left, Jeff. That for all these upsets, I think after like the second game or third game, there was 0, or third week or whatever, there was 0 perfect brackets. Those get busted pretty easily. So, that's all right, awesome. Jeff, it's that time. What is in your locker this week?
Okay, so what's in my locker this week is something that really sucks that happened in my state a couple days ago. So I don't know. I'm sure if everybody's may have tuned in or have seen it or have read about it. But yeah, the city of Boulder had a mass shooting. I want to say yesterday. So it was around the time I got off work actually. And so I didn't hear a whole lot that was going down. I just remember seeing it kind of pop up on my phone and not really believing it. It was kind of like, really? Like Boulder's a pretty chill town. Like it's kind of like Austin. So it's just kind of a chill place and nobody really bothers anybody there. So the fact that it was at a grocery store, which is kind of shocking that happened at a grocery store. I go to, and in this particular King Supers, which is, it's basically Kroger's. If anybody's ever been to Kroger's, they're actually part of that family. So when you go and get the reward card thing, it'll say King Supers, Kroger's, and so they're all owned by the same corporation. But yeah, I mean, I've been in Boulder. My wife and I've walked around Boulder multiple times, and the fact that something happened there was kind of insane. I think a cop was killed. I think he was 51. So he was actually the first cop on site. So it was just kind of insane that even happened. So my thoughts and well wishes go out to everybody there and that was affected by that. It's a messed up thing. This place has kind of dealt with it a lot. I know my wife was supposed to have a book group today on Zoom, and they didn't want to do it because they were just upset because it's happened multiple times here. So they look at it and it's just upsetting because back 12 years ago, I think it was 12 years ago was the Aurora shooting. So and I remember I've driven past that movie theater a number of times. So it's just kind of insane to even think that could happen at any moment. So today I had to go to the store, and my wife was just kind of like, I don't want you to go to the store. I was like, I gotta go to the store. So it's just, it sucks, but and it's weird because you walk in and you're just like, how the heck can something like that happen in a place like, I mean, these people are just going and getting groceries. And so it's just kind of insane. But now that we know more about it, we know that this person was mentally ill. It seems like from what the reports say and from what his family has said, it's just kind of shows how a human mind that's not mentally stable can be completely messed up and do something insane. But yeah, it's incredible how much resilience this area has. Because even with all this, there's still, people are still at the store. They still go, I was surprised. I thought maybe I would see less people today, but people were still going to the grocery store. Like, they don't care. So it's like, they still are like, hey, it's, we're not going to let this beat us. We're not going to let this stop us. So, yeah, that's in my locker. That's what I've been thinking about a lot because it's just, it's upsetting to see people freaking out, and running around when they're trying to do a daily thing. Like,
makes you come home and hug your loved ones a little bit tighter, and tomorrow's not promised. And just one of those things that, yeah, man, it's thoughts and prayers out to the families involved. And
yeah, it was 10 people killed, and then the cop. That's with the cop. And I think actually they had on the highway yesterday a cop procession all the way down. So they were honoring him because he was, he didn't, it was shots fired and he responded, and so without a second guess, he was there. And they had, and at that point he, I guess, fired on him, and then they had SWAT team in, and that was it. They pulled the guy out. And it's interesting because a lot of people are like, why didn't they just kill him? And I'm like, well, that would be the easy way to do it. But I think by capturing him, they can kind of learn from that and go, why would you do that? Why would you feel that way? They learned a lot from the shooter in Aurora, which is insane. By just, talking to him, being like, what caused you to go insane and do something crazy? Like, what was that? So it's easy to take them out, and I think it's harder to try to keep them alive so that you can understand from and learn from it, so that you can understand the signs of it, and probably try to prevent it if you could, So, but yeah, that's it's a crazy thing in my locker, but that's what's in my locker.
What happened right down the street from you?
Yeah, it's that place is literally like 20 minutes from my apartment, so it's insane. It's absolutely crazy.
All right, Jeff. Well, in my locker this week, I got quite a bit different things. So we had this meeting with the manager, Wesley. He's the manager of construction at our house. We had a meeting with him at the house, kind of going over everything, inspecting the innards of the house and the electrical and everything. So we have a closing date of May 20th. So that's when we plan on closing on the house. So we can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. We were hoping it would be sooner than that, but it's coming, and it'll be here before you know it. So had that going on this week. We had some family coming to town, totally out of the blue, from Kansas this last weekend, so we were able to do some things with them, and we went out to dinner, and they got a hotel. My girls went over there and was able to swim inside the pool and enjoy their company, so that was nice. One more thing that's in my locker, Jeff, is the Packers did not restructure Aaron Rodgers' contract. That's got me worried that we're going to be seeing him leave sooner than later. Now, they can restructure next year, or they can restructure in a different way later on. But Aaron Rodgers was looking for, there's reports that he is looking for some insurance that he's going to be the quarterback past next year. And I don't know if that's the Packers' plan. We know what happened with Favre. Maybe they're planning the same thing here with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. That makes me nervous. We could have freed up some cap space. It would have freed up about $4 or $5 million this year, but not doing so allows us to, if we do release Aaron Rodgers after next season, our cap hit's only $2.5 million instead of some wacky 30 or 17 or whatever million it's going to be. So it leaves the door open for Aaron Rodgers to leave Green Bay. I don't like it. I don't want it. We need Aaron Rodgers here as long as possible. We need him to be Tom Brady, playing at 50 years old. And if he does go somewhere else, let me tell you, Packer fans, right now something. Okay, if Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere else, you cannot be mad at Aaron Rodgers. People are still pissed off at Brett Favre because Brett Favre got traded and then he joined the Vikings. That doesn't matter. Okay? Brett Favre got traded. We kicked him off our team. He can go wherever he wants. He went to Minnesota. They almost went to the Super Bowl. Suck it up. Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere. I will be cheering for Aaron Rodgers to win unless he faces Green Bay. He's put this team on his back for years. 4 years. Years, Jeff. So I don't want to hear no crap about, Aaron Rodgers is selfish. He should have done this. Blah, blah, blah. No. If Aaron Rodgers does leave after next season, I might cry a little bit, Jeff. But we'll see what happens. Hey.
He's coming to Denver.
You would go to the Super Bowl. You would go to the Super Bowl, Jeff. You had Aaron Rodgers, that team, you'd go in the Super Bowl. So that's what's in my locker this week. We can only speculate. We don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. But I'm not ready for the Jordan Love era. And so, Jeff, we almost forgot about this month. We haven't been promoting it very well, and that's on me, I guess. So the documentary this month. So last month we did a we started doing where we review a documentary, and we're going to talk about it the last week of the month, every month. And this last week's was Athlete A, which we actually got retweeted by the father of Mrs. Pierce's daughter. I forgot her first name. Maggie Pierce. Her father actually retweeted us, which is kind of pretty cool. Yeah, which is insane. Yeah. So this week we are doing. It's called Operation Varsity Blues. It's about the college admissions scandal that happened a couple years ago. Was it last year or the year before?
Last year, or maybe it was the year before. Yeah, maybe it was like towards the end of the year before COVID.
Look forward to that review. That will be the spotlight of the week, next week's episode. I'm hoping, I don't know about you, Jeff, I'm hoping to sometime this week get on here and tell you guys why I like the teams I like, tell you why I am a fan of them. So hopefully that'll come out this week as well. We'll kind of put that out on the side. But that's...
I know we were going to do the Tiger Woods. I think we will. I think this one just seems so interesting because it was something that gained a lot of traction and was a huge topic. And I think not only was this a sports related topic, but I think this was a regular human being kind of topic as well. Because if you think about this, just like with Athlete A, it was a topic that a lot of people could resonate outside of the sports world. And same with this. I think a lot of people could resonate with this outside of the sports world too, as well as the sports world. So athletes that are busting their butt trying to get a scholarship would be upset. Kids just trying to get to the school would be upset because either they got denied from the school if they didn't have the grades or whatever. So what's one of the interesting parts about this documentary is that this could relate literally to anybody.
Right. And that's
anybody.
I thought about it too, and I was like, would I do this for my kids? Because when you have kids, you want the best for them no matter what. I think sometimes you might run that fine line of what's against the rules and what's not. So not saying I would, but it's a question you kind of ask yourself if you have children and what's the stake should you go for them.
I will answer that kind of question when we get
right. That'll be the final question. Would you do this for your child? So that'll be on episode 45 next week. We're moving along here. 44 episodes. We've got the YouTube channel going. So that's gonna be it for this episode, Jeff. Unless you have anything else to add.
No, I think I covered everything we were trying to cover, and I just want everybody to stay safe. I think everybody should, if you have the ability to go on social media to kind of promote us and whatever you can on all the various platforms, that would be appreciated. And also, I want people to go out and just write something nice about the city of Boulder. I know they probably have some kind of hashtag something going on. So if you can do that, that'd be appreciated. Because it's another tragedy in this area, and I think that these people are nice people. Like I've never had any issues with any of the people here, and they're always super happy and nice and everything. So yeah, if you can go on there, try to just say some kind words to some of, just with the hashtag in it. That would probably be
our
nice.
Thoughts and prayers are definitely with them here and those loved ones that were lost, and even the family of the family of the victims. Even the family of that their son shot up the store. They got to be feeling pretty bad that their son did that, and I think they kind of get missed in some of these sometimes. But, it's a crazy.
Yeah, that's true. So. Yeah, I couldn't imagine if it was my own family member that went like that and did something because and then you would get negatively looked at, and it's like that's not me, that's him. So it's just that's another thing to also think about too. So yeah, we appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody listening in and listening to our talks and conversations. I'm going to give it to Brian and let him just kind of thank everybody too. And
I do want to say thanks, guys. Anytime you take time to share, like, post, share us with whoever, listen. We appreciate it. We're just here, trying to do this for fun, and hopefully it's entertaining to you guys and all those that listen that are even especially overseas. There's a guy in Italy that listens all the time. So I want to thank him and those that listen here. So just share the show if you like it. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and just continue listening, guys. And God bless you guys. Hope you have a fantastic week.
All right. Take care, guys.